is Joe Simonson. He's a senior investigative reporter for the Washington Free Beacon. Hello, Joe.
Vince, how are we?
I'm doing great, and boy, a lot of attention has, of course, been focused on how Joe Biden forgot all sorts of details about when he was vice president, when his son died, when his son was even deployed, and that's obviously in the transcript, but it goes far beyond that, doesn't it, Joe?
Yeah, that's exactly right, and I think a lot of people have been spun up about those two facts, which obviously are disturbing and raise serious questions about Biden's mental state. But the rest of the document is even more of a fascinating look into the president's mind.
For sure. Give us an example. There's one about archery that I've been chuckling about for the last 48 hours.
So a lot of these sort of asides Biden would go into over the course of 2 days. So Special Counsel Hur would be like, so why don't you tell me about how the documents ended up in, the Penn Biden Center, or whatever. And then Biden will go, well, hold on a second. I have to tell a story. And in one of these stories, Biden recounts how when he was in Mongolia, in I think 2011, it might have been 2014, when he was vice president, is the point. And he went into this field with a bunch of locals, Mongolian locals, and they had some archery events set up. And he said, and these guerrillas, who I assume he was speaking about the local Mongolians, they were shooting bows and arrows, and they handed me a bow and arrow. And you guys won't believe it, but I hit the target in a field hundreds of miles away. And I never really have done any archery before.
I'm sorry, did he say miles, or are you making a mistake?
Oh, excuse me. I meant yards.
Okay.
Yards.
Well, look, it's so believable that he said miles that I had to pause on that for a moment. Okay, so he did say hundreds of yards away?
Correct, and he has no experience of archery. He says, well, it turns out like I'm a very gifted archer. But there's video of this. And I looked and I did some research, and and to be clear, this has nothing to do with anything the special counsel is asking about. and there's a video of him uploaded by the Obama White House in Mongolia, and he's just shooting it like into a field. There's no target. There's no like, oh my God, this guy's like some savant at archery. But it was just this like weird thing, like where it's like, I don't know what this trip to Mongolia has to do with anything. I think he said, well, I wanted it for my notes for my autobiography. And then you just like lie about like how amazing. I mean, have you seen like Napoleon Dynamite? It's like, the or whatever says he's like an amazing quarterback. I mean, it's just this bizarre tangent that has no relation to reality, and it's made up.
So he really said he hit a target that was thousands of yards away.
I think he said hundreds.
Hundreds. Okay, hundreds. Okay, but let me just emphasize something here. I just looked it up just to make sure. The farthest archery target that's ever been hit by a male, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, is 330 meters. That's roughly equivalent to yards.
Right.
So 330 meters. So Biden's contention is that he has practically Guinness World Record talents that he wasn't even aware of.
First try.
Amazing. Just really, maybe we did elect the right guy. If he can pull that off, what else? What else?
You're a better reporter than me. I didn't even look that up.
It's so funny. All right, let's talk about car noises now. There's a sequence where Joe Biden is talking to Robert Hur, and Hur is not even able to just transcribe what Biden is saying. He just starts writing down, quote, makes car sound. What's happening here?
I think he's talking. He has this Corvette that he loves, and it is a very nice car. And I as an automobile appreciator myself, I can understand. But again, it's the story. The question is always, so like, let's talk about the documents. He goes, well, hold on a second. Do you know about the torque in these cars? And he starts making like engine noises like a baby in the middle of this interview. And then in all of these sort of interactions, Hur's always like, wow, that's amazing. Let's get back to the question real quick. And over the course of 2 days, and a lot of it is obviously very silly and bizarre, but this guy is so all over the place, and you have to wonder, is he filibustering? Is he trying to be charming? Is he just totally gone? It's just so random the stuff that he's bringing up, whether he's just making, I'll give one more example. He talks about how he was in law. Again, I have no idea what the point of the story was, but he talks about how he's in law school and he was in torts class. And I'm sure your listeners remember, Biden plagiarized in a class, and the paper he plagiarized from was about a torts class. So it's very likely he's talking about the class that he failed anyway. And he says he was like, the professor called on him and he had to explain some case, and he did it so eloquently. At the end of it, the entire classroom was standing up and clapping for him.
And that doesn't seem it doesn't seem credible at all. The claim is that he didn't prepare for a speech, he winged it, and everybody was clapping.
And everyone, I mean, this is a law school. I mean, he's like the greatest litigator in history, apparently. I mean, every story he tells, I was the best at this. I was the smartest at this. And it's just like, again, no bearing to the issue at hand, which is like you're under criminal investigation, but also just goes above and beyond in every little anecdote that he's telling. I don't know if he's trying to impress her or what.
Yeah, totally. And it's consistent with his entire career. This is not a recent development, just, even given his advanced age. His entire career has consisted of literally lying about checkable events, including he was arrested visiting Nelson Mandela, that he marched in the civil rights movement, that he was a truck driver, that he was graduated at the top of his class. It's just lie after lie after lie from this guy.
Well, and exactly. And for so much of it, I don't understand why. Like, is anyone on the fence about Biden? If they hear he's like the greatest archer in Mongolia, then they're like, oh, well, it's on the fence, but this guy is incredible. It's just weird.
Yeah, no question. Well, Joe Simonson, if you detect weirdness out of the President of the United States, you can find coverage of it at the Washington Free Beacon always. Thank you very much, Joe. I really appreciate your time today, sir.